Hi guys, this is Anne from Metal Wani, and today we're talking to Myrkur.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. Congrats to another really amazing album.
Oh, thank you.
Even though apparently the path to it was not so easy this time, I heard Mareridt was inspired by all the nightmares that plagued you within the last years, which from an artistic point of view is surely great, but definitely not from a personal one. So how are you doing at the moment?
I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm still not sleeping very well, but I don't know. It's all a little bit overwhelming, with the attention to the album. But it's good, and people seem to like it, so that's always good news to the artist, of course.
Definitely. So has it been some sort of catharsis after writing your songs? Did it bring you some relief, or is it still difficult?
Well, I mean, what I've learned is because, I've started in Jungian therapy, and to also study Carl Jung more closely, and I've learned more like it's not, to see nightmares as more of a tool and a friend for different psychological, situations, and healing. It's not as much that you want to escape them as you want to confront them, I guess, like ghosts, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And you also mentioned sleep paralysis, and I was very intrigued by this because when not many people know this, and it's always very frightening, especially if you experience it for the very first time. So how did you first get in touch with it, and how did you learn what it actually was?
Well, I didn't learn what it was till way later, which actually kind of sucks. I wish that I'd known. But I remember the first time was when I think I was about 15, and it happened a lot to me in around those years for some reason. And the first experience wasn't so frightening because it was like I remember being asleep in the living room. I was living at home, of course, and my mother was walking around in the room, and I was trying to tell her to wake me up. But then I realized, oh, I'm dead, alive. I can't talk to her, but she's right there. That kind of experience. And then that sort of developed into this more dark, because that was pretty innocent. But then it'd be like, like the blanket was suffocating me, I was lying in my bed, and you'll do anything to wake up, but you keep waking up, and then you realize, oh no, I'm not actually waking up, I'm still asleep. This endless loop of horror. I really hate sleep paralysis. Fortunately, that's not really been so dominating these past years. That's I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. It's if you've experienced it, you know how unpleasant it is. It's really disturbing. You don't want to go to sleep if you have it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So in which situations do you write your songs? Is it right after getting up in the morning so that you can still capture that feeling, or do you need some time to think about it?
Well, for this, this isn't how I usually write songs. This is very specific for this record, which made it, I guess, sort of a conceptual album. So it's not like I've never written songs like this before, and I don't know if I'll do it again, to be honest. But what I did, which then turned into an album, was I wake up screaming from some nightmare, and I write it down, just scribble, scrapple, like frantic kind of, and sometimes I don't remember writing it down, or it's in 3 different languages. Yeah, super weird. And then I go back to sleep hoping that, I'll try to sort of get out of bed. You know how that goes, if you can kind of really wake up, really turn the lights on, not still be in the hands of the demon. And then I would go back to sleep, and then later in the day I would have a look at it and start kind of singing what I wrote down on top of maybe one of my folk instruments, something drony, and then grow from there.
Is that also the reason why you actually write in different languages, that it comes completely spontaneous?
Yeah, it is a bit like that. It's just, I don't, obviously my first language is Danish, and I also speak kind of Swedish and Norwegian, but I've lived in America. I am influenced by the English language and by a lot of English writers, so whether you know it or not, I'm sure that lies in your mind. Mm-hmm. So I have been dreaming in English, or at least kind of half writing it down in English for some reason. Some of it. Yeah. But the songs that ended up being in English were songs that I just felt lend themselves better to that tone of language. Mm-hmm. The tone more than so much the words, I guess.
Yeah, and you were also using the most unusual instruments on that album, from violin to mandola, folk drums, and that instrument I can't even pronounce the name of.
Yeah.
Yes. Are these all instruments that you could play anyway, or did you envision a certain sound for a song and then decided to learn this instrument for it?
No, these are instruments I've collected over the years, but the Myrkur is one of the newest ones I've picked up. But it's the perfect instrument for this record. I felt kind of that tone that it has.
It is. It has that ghostly vibe to it.
Yeah, very cold.
Speaking of the past a bit, do you still remember the very first time that you stood on stage? I mean, not as Myrkur, but maybe as a child in music school?
Ooh, I do remember. It was terrible.
Aww.
No, it wasn't so bad. It was violin. I had a violin teacher. Her name was Marta. And when I was about 5, we had my first performance. I mean, she was on the so-called stage with me. That's how it was, because it's so young. And then I learned a children's song, a Danish children's song, and then I played it. And, people clapped. And then she said, now play the next string. And I realized, oh no, she wants me to play it on all the strings. And that's when I got really frightened. But yeah, I think that was my first time.
Oh. So you were traumatized from the very beginning on.
I mean, it wasn't so bad. I guess it was just the surprise of it.
Even though I promised myself not to talk about looks or other things that seem too gender related, I just have to ask, where do you get your stage costumes or the photo shoot dresses from? Because they're so simplistic but yet so beautiful.
Thank you. I guess you would have to name a specific one, because they're all really different.
I was specifically thinking about, when I say white dress, I think the one you on the Decibel cover.
Oh, yeah, that one's incredible, right?
Yeah.
That is a vintage wedding dress. Yeah, awesome. It's a Victorian wedding dress. It's not that great quality, to be honest, between you and me, but it's really beautiful. But I can't perform in it because it's too tight around the chest, so I can't breathe. I really, singing, breathing.
So where did you get it from?
The vintage store. Yeah, that sells wedding dresses. But I mean, I don't really. I try to also wear the same dresses a lot. I use the same dresses because I don't really feel that fashion is a part of my brand. But that I do feel that a dress can have a symbolic signal, but not in a fashionable way, but in sort of a spiritual or psychological way that you can convey through what you wear. And besides, I really hate kind of wearing it that close, so it's easy when you find a few dresses that work, kind of.
Great. So nature always plays a big role in your life and as well in your music. So I was wondering, how much do you worry for the environment at the moment after so many disasters happening lately? Are you rather optimistic or pessimistic about the future of the world?
I feel quite uneasy about it. I don't know anything about environmental politics. My brother actually has a doctorate degree in that. But so I try to learn from him, and he teaches me things. But I don't know enough to speak about it. But I will say that it's a bit unnerving that certain certain places in America are now hurricane path when they didn't used to be. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know. I just it certainly makes you worry. Yeah.
And do you still live really in the nature in a small house, or by now in a small apartment in the city, just because it makes it easier for you to travel?
I live both, actually. I split my time between that, and right now I'm in the house because I don't really have to do anything. Mainly if I'm in the city, it's because of working with people or a rehearsal. Otherwise, I don't really have any reason to be here, I mean, friends, of course, but...
Okay, getting back to the album again, the song Birmingham is one of the creepiest tracks ever with this children's voice. Is it actually your voice, or did you invite child over?
It's me. It's my voice.
So does it actually have something autobiographical, or is it rather fictional? Because, I mean, it deals with revenge and remembering what someone has done to you in the past. It's really, really creepy. So was your childhood so bad?
I would say it's... yeah, it's definitely, I think everybody has stuff they deal with. I do have things that come to me in dreams that I think are, that I may have repressed in life. And this little girl was kind of the voice of the little girl in me, and that this kind of, when I grew up, I had this invisible friend type thing, and that's like her voice, so that doesn't make it less creepy, but
do you still have one?
No. It was in my childhood until my parents got divorced, and I guess she died. But she lived in this lamp on my nightstand. Her name was Cha-Cha. My mom had to she was sitting with me at dinner table, that kind of thing.
Wow. That's awesome. But so sad that he died, actually. I guess sometimes even adults need that in a certain way.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also I've been a girl that had to grow up very fast, and I think that's why she became this kind of separate part of me, like almost like a torn person type thing. And then later in my life, I'm trying to heal and find this girl, and I mean, it's a risk of sounding sappy, hug her and take care of her.
Yes.
So I'm letting her have a voice, even if it's a bit of a creepy voice.
But that might actually be an idea for the next album, that you deal with her a bit more.
More lovingly?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to take a little more therapy, but yeah.
If you could write your own fairy tale story, how would it be, and how would it end?
I think I have a lot of kind of visions, or like visual sights about, I guess it would be something about a girl, because I wrote this song that didn't make it to the album, which is called The Girl with the White Hair in Danish. And it was like a girl running in the snow with this white hair, and these birds are attacking her, and I don't know what the ending would be, but when you say fairy tale, something I was writing, that just came to mind, because that's...
Yes.
Yeah. But it's actually a good song, it just wasn't right. Maybe it'll go on the next one.
But you're more prone to tragic stories, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, tragic, I don't know, life is rough, right? Nature's beautiful and brutal. Nature, look at Hurricane Irma, It's breathtaking, it's vicious, that's life, that's human race. I don't see any idea. I think it's good, we need our archetypals, we need our fairy tales, we need our happy endings, but it's also not a good thing to run away from the tragedy, because it's there.
So do you still have hope for humanity, or will we destroy ourselves pretty soon?
Oh, we will destroy ourselves, for sure. But it's not going to be in our lifetime. But I mean, that's my subtle hope also a little bit. Not I don't have a political message on this record, but I certainly have a bit of a spiritual message in the terms that I want to inspire people to confront their shadow side, you know? That's the whole idea behind Myrkur, actually, which means darkness, is going to my dark side and not running from it. Because I think that once people do that, they can take ownership and learn about themselves, wake up and stop projecting, take responsibility, be an individual human being, and be better for the planet and each other.
Yes. Even though, I mean, these times we've had a lot of tragedies, especially in the music scene, with many suicides, etc. So, to which point do you think is it intelligent to focus on your dark side, or is it sometimes even better to just concentrate on other things?
Well, I mean, so I don't know why these people may have killed themselves or died, but let's say there's a lot of addiction involved, right?
Yes.
Addiction is certainly a secondary kind of acting out process, and it's numbing yourself, and it's an escape and refuge. That's very basic. And so doing that doesn't mean you're focusing on your dark side. It's actually the opposite. You are certainly not taking ownership. You are certainly not disarming the shadow side. The shadow isn't bad. You need to embrace it, and thereby that doesn't mean you sit alone and kind of like worry about your problems. That's not what I'm saying. The opposite.
Face it.
Face it. And I mean, it's so important also now in the political climate that people, this collectivism thing, people need to think for themselves now.
Yeah, that seems to be pretty difficult for people at the moment.
People can't think for themselves, and they project on each other all the time instead of looking inwards. It's very bad. I really think the big thinkers, the philosophers, they would roll over in their graves if they saw what has happened to the human mind. So,
do you believe that there are still people like this really shaking up everyone?
That there's big thinkers and stuff?
Yes.
Of course. But we do live in a time where we crucify people who step outside the line. And this is not like a right or left thing. I'm just saying it's like I don't know what it is. It's a bigger thing. It's a very abstract, and I don't really understand it. I don't think a lot of people do understand it. So I think absolutely they're there, but it's hard. It's like you're going to feel very lonely in these times, saying things that people don't want to hear.
Yes, that's true. Unless you find like-minded people. I mean, that's the interesting part of the internet. In a way, it allows you to get in touch with people who think like you, but on the other side, I mean, yeah, you're probably the person who has the most troubles on the internet these days. So.
Yeah. I mean, and also the problem with that is like, and it's good, but the problem is that it's like that echo chamber thing, right? So you get crucified for speaking certain things, then you find so-called like-minded people, and then all you hear is your own opinion confirmed. What we need to do is talk and then communicate and sit for hours and discuss things and learn, right?
Very true. Yes.
That's how we grow. That's how they built a civilization.
Yes. We need different opinions, but at the moment it just splits and everyone sits in their own camp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone can deny that the civilization that's been built is kind of crumbling a little bit right now. I don't think you can't deny that, right? Anyway, off topic. This is what I do in all interviews, by the way. I totally avoid talking about myself and my album. Stupid.
But off topic things are actually where it gets interesting most of the time, so I love that.
I agree, and I've been doing music for so many years. I don't care about like me as an artist, you know. No, it's true. It's not a bad thing. It's just there's so many interesting things.
It's also very important that artists speak out their mind in these times, because apparently these are the only people that some guys listen to.
Well, they don't want us speaking our minds either. I can tell you that much.
Unless you share their opinion, probably.
Yeah, but even that, even that will go wrong somehow. You just need to not speak about anything and just play music. Yeah.
And don't even dare to look good.
No.
Okay, well, back to topic. You're coming on tour with Solstafir very soon. And even though the music is less aggressive than yours, where do you see the similarities? Because I think there are many.
Yeah, I think what's fun about this tour is, and it's not something I myself would have kind of thought, like, oh, I should do that, but it's a tour plan based on vibe, I guess, lack of better words, feeling of the music, and kind of, and I think that's the key word. That's why it's pretty good pairing, I think.
All right, thank you so much. It was very interesting once again.
You're welcome.
And I hope to see you on tour, and have a great evening.
All right, you too.
Cheers.
Bye.